I was going to ask, how do you know
Yeah,
the difference when it's the difficulty
yes,
means this is a no, or the difficulty means,
right,
oh, it's actually the
right.
right track because it's out of your comfort zone?
Exactly. Okay. So obviously, when you're starting a company, there's lots of ups and downs. Sometimes you're like, throwing up your hands going, maybe I should just call it quits. Because, and when I talk to other young designers as they're starting their company, sometimes you will encounter points where you're like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? It's just insane. So I do remember several points when I was starting my company, especially in the beginning when I was working initially by myself before I could hire folks to work with me. In the beginning, there were times when I remember it was so physically, mentally draining that you're at your end of just exhaustion, because you've worked so hard that you're like, what am I doing? However, there was always still this, I don't know, vision of the future of what I wanted to achieve. I guess that kind of kept me going. And in that sense, I do remember very clearly, like, I've never worked so hard in my life, harder than when I was in finance. There was different struggles in finance. They were also very hard at times, but it was a different physical hard because you're sometimes packing your orders, and you're in the beginning when you start your company, you're packing orders, lifting boxes, and I mean, it's physically setting up for shows or whatever that might be. You're physically maxed out and drained and exhausted, but somehow there's a different drive that energizes you because you have this vision of something beyond that present moment of struggle that keeps you going. So it's not to say that doing something that's enjoyable, you're not going to have those roadblocks or challenges. That's actually normal and okay, because if we never persevere through those hardships, we also never get to the other side of what that is. And so it's a sense of like, you can't just go, oh, this is hard, it's not supposed to be hard, you throw up your hands and you call it quits. It's not that. It's, you have to really look deeper in what is the ultimate end goal you're trying to get to. Is that end goal, the bigger picture, longer term thing, something that still resonates for you? And if that is, then that moment in that present where you're struggling and just going, I'm dying, there's a light at the end of that tunnel because it's short term.
Okay.
And so that's, I think, how you differentiate, or knowing that doesn't mean you turn away from adversity just like that. It's also recognizing, is that something you can, persevere, get over, and move on to the next thing. I think that's where maybe the difference might be. The stronger vision of knowing what the bigger picture is, so that immediate thing is something just temporary, essentially.